Yeah. The first one you mentioned there when he talks about heartily, with all the heart clinging, and not just the externals. So not forms, formality. I go through the forms of religion, and not, just intellectual profession and lining up truths in the right order, but the heart being penetrated by those things in a way that is irreversible, not perfect. There will be one day where the pain of love is no longer ours. And that's a phrase from an old writer, and I forget who wrote it. But they talked about love must be pain now if it would be bliss in heaven. That is, because of love to Jesus Christ, there are certain things that grieve us now. Sin grieves us. Sluggishness grieves us. Indifference grieves us. And the unbeliever feels no grief over those things. We do. We break our hearts over how slow our hearts are to just be, wholly given over to him. And one day that will be laid aside. And so that's one of the great things we look forward to, not just heaven and some streets of gold, and a little cabin in the corner, but there will be my King in a new creation, and there will be an intimacy with him that now we have only had just a little foretaste of, and there will be no sin to cloud it ever. That is one that I think I find most helpful and most difficult, which was the second to the last one, number 6. Live with your thoughts directed toward what is yet to come. And again, I don't mean some ethereal kind of floating around in a cloud of glory, but a very real, physical new creation in which there will not be one church because he will be here. And there will be, Revelation paints that wonderful picture that kind of is paradoxical. It's obvious, not literal. There is a throne in the midst of the land. He's on the throne. And there is a street that, in a sense, connects to every individual's house. So it's not that I'm on 22nd Street, but I'm about 10 miles down the road. No, every house is kind of directly connected, and there's a river that flows by every front door, and a tree of life. Just the unimpeded intimacy with the God-man. So Newton gave an illustration of this once. John Newton said, imagine a man who has found out from his lawyer that some distant relative that he didn't even hardly know died and has left him an enormous inheritance. So you're supposed to go to the bank and sign all the papers, okay, next Monday. So he gets up and he gets dressed, and this man who barely can make his bills, he's a poor man, is going to immediately be one of the richest men in the city. So he gets a little cab. This is back in the 1800s. So he gets his cab, and the horse-drawn carriage kind of cab, and he's being taken through the city of London to go to his bank. And halfway there, or almost there, the cab breaks, the wheel snaps, and the cabbie gets off, and he's grumpy, and he's apologizing. And Newton says this: what would the man do that's in the cab? You rented the cab's broken down, but you know that just in a few more minutes of a walk, you're at the bank and you will be a millionaire. So do you sit there and cuss the cabbie and sit around in your self-pity and say, why does this always happen to me? You would say to the cabbie, don't worry about it, man. Don't worry about it. That can't stop me from being happy. And you just pick up, and run the rest of the way. I've kind of, butchered his illustration, but that's the basic picture. So how I live today, being altered by the anticipation of a reality that we are allowed to taste today, that we're allowed to take a little of today, the down payment, but the fullness is, right ahead of us. Thanks for watching the clip. We hope it was spiritually beneficial for you. We really do appreciate being able to interact with you through the comments. So if you have questions or just comments you'd like to leave them below, and we'll get back to them as we have a chance.